Good morning. It is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. This is Daily Shakeup number 1020. And today I want to talk about change, and in particular, how we look at the cost of change. Because we often acknowledge pretty honestly and appropriately that when we make change, there are risks associated with it. Risk of things not going the way we hope, going whatever we label as bad or expensive, whatever it is. But the reality is there's always a cost of change. There has to be because we're on this course, whatever it is, and to shift course, there's going to be a cost. Something is going to be lost. Something is going to be shifted. Even if the cost is just emotional and psychological in terms of the impact that change and of that change and the fear, et cetera. So there's also impact of that change. And a lot of times we hesitate to make change because we get caught up in a lack of clarity about what that cost is. We tend to exaggerate the cost, which allows us to it gives us permission to say, don't change because that cost is high. And sometimes that is a people cost. Sometimes, I'm going to just be honest, sometimes in an organization, change might involve losing people. But here's the thing to think about. Yes, there's always a cost to change, but we need to look deeper and ask ourselves, how expensive is this change? In other words, what are we getting from the change? What's the benefit of the change, or at least the potential benefit of the change versus the cost? Because that helps us determine if it's expensive or not, or too expensive. Because let's put it in some units. Let's say that we look at the benefit, the upside of change as a unit of 100, and the cost of change as a 10. If we only look at the 10, it might seem really expensive, a cost that we're afraid to incur. But when we look at the reality of the change creates a 10x of the cost, is it really expensive change? No, it might be painful because painful is different than expensive. Because whenever we make change, we know there's going to be, at a minimum, some emotional impact because that's the nature of change. And they say that 80% of people are change resistant. So 80% of the people are going to incur some emotional impact of change. So instead of just focusing on this cost of the change, let's look at how expensive that change is. Because if the change is too expensive, that the benefits of the change, the upside of the change, does not justify the cost, then it is too expensive. But that is a different question than acknowledging that there are costs of change because there always will be. Change has a cost, but it is not always expensive. And in many cases, change is worth the cost.